10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion. And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you and a happy Tuesday, everybody. We are officially in the month of March. Can I say March Madness yet? I think we can. Now, you're playing meaningful basketball games in the month of March, both Oregon men's basketball and Oregon women's basketball. PK Park, a 58-run weekend for the Ducks in that new look PK Park. We're going to talk about that coming up. Oregon softball head coach Melyssa Lombardi will be with us here in the Country Financial Studio, and we've got a lot of brackets to talk about. It's bracket bonanza. That's what March Madness really is. And so we begin with Rob Mullens, Oregon Athletic Director's here. Rob, what's going on?
Hey, it's March. Like you said, March 1. Here we go.
Hey, it's awesome to be playing meaningful basketball games in the month of March, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think we were playing some pretty meaningful ones in February, too. So, no, March is a great time. Obviously, the men's and women's NCAA tournaments are some of the best events in all of sports. Excited to continue on that journey.
Are you like me that when we get to this time of year, there is a little bit of an extra buzz around just because it's the postseason, it's the tournament, it's fun?
Oh, sure. Obviously spring sports are kicking off too, but yeah, you got the indoor track championships, both the Pac-12 men's and women's basketball tournaments, and then you get to the NCAA tournament. In my mind, that first weekend of the NCAA tournaments is as good as it gets.
I agree.
68 teams, lots of upsets, wall-to-wall coverage. If you love basketball, it's just perfect.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I ask you this every year because of the way the schedule works out. Do you have your flights figured out for indoor championships, tournaments, all that?
Yeah, not quite. Now I'm factoring in. I've got a son whose high school basketball team, is still playing as well.
Sure.
So I'm trying to factor that in. So we're taking it a couple days at a time. I'm going down to the women's tournament tomorrow.
Great.
We'll be at the game Thursday, and then we'll just take it day by day from there.
All right.
So I'm going to probably rack up some frequent flyer miles.
As you always do, right? This time of year. And again, that's a good thing. That means the Ducks are succeeding.
It is a great thing. And fortunately, we've got some more direct flights from Eugene. Maylon Suite has helped us a little bit. So, there's lots of options. I'm understanding the routes.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of contingency plans.
Yeah, the indoor track and field championships always coincide with the Pac-12 men's tournament. And so at a school like Oregon, well, there's some overlap for someone like you.
Yeah, and what are the indoor tracks in Birmingham?
Alabama.
Not super. I don't think there's a direct from Vegas to Birmingham.
I don't think so.
So, but we'll figure it out.
Men's basketball season, though, the Ducks split this past weekend. We're going to hear from Coach Altman coming up, and I know they were frustrated after the loss to USC, but hey, they're still on the bubble. We know that.
Absolutely, and then when you look at the net and the number of quality wins, we probably will have to overcome a couple of losses that'll get discussed in the room. But I think people see that the high ceiling on this team when you go to LA and have the sweeps on the road and the way we competed against UCLA and even USC. I mean, we've had so many games. Our last 3 games have just come right down to the wire against teams that are solidly in and likely to be really good seeds.
Yeah.
So I was reading one article this morning, and I don't know who said it, said, obviously Oregon is on the bubble, but I guarantee you there isn't a 5 seed out there who wants to see Oregon as a 12 seed in their bracket.
And how many times have we said that the last few years?
No, we have, and I forget who it was. It might have been Oklahoma State or St. Louis. We went to San Jose as a 12.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. And the coach before the game said, this is not a 12 seed.
Right.
Turn on the film. It is not a 12 seed.
Yeah, there's been so you're right. We've had that now 3 times that I can think of, and in San Jose it would have either been against the Billikens,
right,
or Wisconsin. I mean, there's
so you just have to get in. As I said, we obviously we know Coach Altman's record. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason, and if we can just find a way into that tournament, we put it together the way we've seen at in tough environments, Pauley Pavilion, McHale. This team can go as deep as they want to go.
Yeah, the nitty-gritty report, if you will. The Ducks are one of the first 4 out in most of the bracketology today. You go on the road, you get some wins against Washington and Washington State. Nobody's won more games in the Pac-12 tournament than Dana Altman. I think we're in a pretty okay spot.
No, absolutely. I mean, we're right there. And again, I want to rip off the rearview mirror, but have we just gotten one of those, big net wins?
Yeah.
I think we'd be in a different place. But now, as Coach said after the USC game, we know what we have to do, and that's win games.
I'm kind of curious, Rob, because you've been in these high-pressure environments, rooms, where you're making big-time selections, College Football Playoff Selection Committee. I mean, that's got to be, like, in some ways the pinnacle of a career for someone like you, that you're in one of those rooms. But there's just a lot of stress for those guys making those calls.
There is a lot of stress. Yes, it is an incredible career opportunity. Lisa serving on the women's basketball. Mm-hmm. If you ask any administrator, a high percentage would say they would like to serve on one of those 3 committees, the CFP, men's basketball or women's basketball selection committees. And it is a lot of stress because when you get right down to it, you are really splitting hairs. There's a lot of resumes that will look the same. And this is the time of year where we start to see, TV entities put up blind resumes.
Right.
So you at home can take take the name off and start to look at how you would evaluate it. Because, obviously there's the net, but that's just one piece. Then you look at quality wins or quad 1 wins, and then you start looking at, what the losses are. And it's, when you're looking at teams that are in different conferences, you're looking at a comparison where you're going to have to make a decision based on a lot of factors, but sometimes it's not, crystal clear.
Yeah. I can only imagine what it's like for people that do this, right? Just how difficult it is. I mean, this is a months-long process.
Months-long process of watching tons of games, looking at data. The system works. That's the thing. And you have a lot of, high-integrity professionals who are spending a considerable amount of time on this task. And the beauty of it is you can get in there and have debate. And,
right.
They put leaders in these positions because, they want the debate. That's how you end up at the best decision. And in the end, there's, in football, team number 5 is going to be unhappy. In basketball, team number 69, 70, 71, 72, can make an argument for why they should have been in the 68.
To be a fly on the wall for some of those.
Yes, yeah. No doubt.
I won't ask you to tell us what it's like to be a fly on the wall since you've been in those, but it's I can only imagine just the way that it goes.
It is, and they're long nights. Because of its importance, you want to make sure you get it right. But again, there's a lot of different elements.
Yeah, had some great environments at Matthew Knight Arena this year.
Unbelievable. It was good to have fans back, and as we got into the latter part of February, both for men's and women's game, we got that Matthew Knight home court advantage back. Yeah. These last 2 men's games were incredible. The pit crew, the engagement, and we saw that in the Stanford women's game too, just having an impact on the game. And boy, we sure missed that.
Nice to have fans back in, and with the way that things are moving, hoping more fans at all of these venues.
No doubt. And, we've seen it grow here in the last few weeks. And, excited. Had great crowds at PK Park over the weekend and look forward to getting softball here for their first home series. So, it is a huge advantage here. At the University of Oregon when we have our passionate fans in there making a difference.
Hitting on the spring sports in just a moment. I do want to talk about the Pac-12 tournament for women's basketball. So you mentioned you're going to be down there. Is this a trip to go watch the Ducks, but also have some meetings? I know sometimes that happens in Vegas.
Sometimes it does. I think, most of the meetings are going to happen next week.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal, at least tomorrow and Thursday, is to just be embedded with the team. Be a part of the whole experience with them, because these tournaments are a fun part of the student-athlete experience. So I want to be in there and enjoy it with them.
How valuable is that for you in your position to be able to do that?
I wish I could do it a lot more during the regular year, because it is quality time with the student athletes in their environment. And listen, that's why we're here,
right,
is to serve and support them. So I wish I could do it more during the regular season, but March is a time where I do get to spend more quality time, at least with men's and women's basketball.
Talking about that tournament ahead, Thursday, the Ducks are going to play either USC or UCLA. We got a whole lot of preview coming on that. Don't worry. I've got the full bracket breakdown for everybody. You mentioned baseball. Just real quick, a shout-out to an athletic director that throws a strike on the first pitch. Well done.
Yeah,
well done,
thank you. I had a lot of pressure from home. So that morning of the game, I asked my boys, I said, do I climb the hill or not? And they're like, that's not even a question.
Yeah.
You better climb the hill.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of debate at home whether it was a strike or not. I got a little high, but
I thought it was a strike.
Oh, I thought Chase framed it perfectly.
Yeah, I'll be honest, we were doing the pregame show when you got up there and threw the honorary first pitch at the New Look PK Park, and I called it a strike.
Attaboy.
So,
Attaboy.
I mean,
and if you ever have Brett Thomas on this show, I understand that there was some discussion in the dugout, some predictions in the dugout, let's say. And I'm just happy to say, Brett Thomas, I proved you wrong.
That's great.
And I'm going to count the push-ups.
All right. I like that. And you said before we got going, you didn't even warm up. It was a cold throw.
Did not warm up. Eric was kind enough, Eric Rodell was kind enough to come early and say, hey, if you need a load, I don't want you to embarrass yourself. But again, we got into the conversation about something else, and next thing you know, the young man from marketing said, hey, it's time to go. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, good work.
But it turned out great.
Yeah, well done. And it was a great weekend at PK
It was
Park.
a great weekend. Obviously the first chance to play with the new dimensions, the new turf, the new outfield wall. So obviously turned out great. Would you say 58 runs? Yeah, that's pretty strong. I have to believe that for run differential in the series, that's got to be way up there.
Yeah, it was significant. And in terms of like records that were broken, the Ducks tied the record for most runs scored in a game. That record stood since 1974.
Wow.
And the Ducks also broke their record for runs scored in an individual inning. They had set the record last Monday in San Diego. They broke the record again on Friday.
Yeah, records are meant to be broken.
Yeah.
I also heard conversation after last night's game. Did we have two players that reached base 12 times in a row?
So I know Colby Shade did it 13 times in a row.
Wow.
And it's significant.
That's pretty remarkable.
And I believe the MLB record for that, by the way, is 17 straight plate appearances reaching safely. So that just puts it in context of like, whoa.
Right. And some of those he connected on too.
Yeah, and of course he grounded out on a hard hit ball to third base. I mean, you can just tell Colby Shade, he's the leading hitter in the Pac-12 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage fans to come out and see it. When you're sitting in there and you're watching the averages come up in our batting order, you got 560, 600. There's a lot of offense happening at PK Park.
This is 8 games in.
Right.
I mean, 8 games in. These aren't like, they're 6 for 10.
Right.
This is significant now. I mean, you got a guy who's hitting 500, 16 for 32, Brennan Malone on the season, and he's like 5th on the team.
Right.
That just should put it in perspective. I do want to ask you a little bit just about what it meant, though, too, for Pat Kilkenny to see the ballpark. I know I saw you down there on the field talking with him and celebrated his birthday with a win. That had to be pretty special.
No, it is pretty special. Obviously, the vision for baseball and to be able to execute on that vision and got off to a really tremendous start when you think about starting something from scratch and being in regionals and super regionals as fast as Oregon baseball was. And, that's Pat's work. And to obviously to have it be his birthday, to be christening kind of the new turf and the new look was pretty special.
I love the new look. If you come on out to PK Park, trust me, you're not going to be disappointed. Oregon softball season underway. Going to be back at the Jane in a little over a week.
Yeah,
which is pretty darn exciting.
Yeah, no, they're off to a great start. You talk about strength of schedule. I mean, they've stepped right in. Been missing a couple of really key players. But that creates opportunity for others, and we've seen some of our young student athletes take advantage of that. So when that team's 100% healthy, it'll be fun to have them back at the Jane.
Track and field too. I wanted to hit on that with you because we sort of joke about the travel schedule for you, but if you guys ever want to go into the nitty-gritty, like someone like me does for Oregon Track and Field, go look at the top 10 of the mile record at the University of Oregon. And I'm not kidding, all of the top 10 are in the last 6 years. It's amazing what's happening. Records are made to be broken.
It is, and when you're either watching the meets or you're just reading the releases from the staff, you start to see all these Oregon records being broken, or top 10, as you said. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the track and field team, I mean, it's amazing when they go and they compete on a Friday, Saturday normally. And so on Duck Insider, I do kind of the preview, hey, here's who to watch, what to watch. And then on Monday, it's like, I could fill an hour just reading the timesheets.
No,
it's wild.
It is pretty amazing. And you almost, it's fun when you get around the real expert track fans at an NCAA championship, because it's almost like a form chart. They know well ahead of you who's advanced, who hasn't, what you need to be watching for.
Who needs to outperform for points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about this track community. When we're having these championship events at Hayward Field, it feels like the entire fan base understands that.
There's still a little more construction going on at Hayward Field. Right?
Yeah, going to be pretty special. I can't wait for folks to get in and experience. And really, this outdoor track season, because there were some limits and lots changing daily at Hayward last year, it's going to be fun to get it full and people getting to experience the new Hayward Field this spring.
Man, anything else you want to hit on? I said I'd get you out quick today.
No, I think it's a great time, right? We're wrapping up these winter sports with a lot still on the line. March Madness. Getting the spring sports underway. Women's golf goes to Tallahassee and gets another win.
Number 3 team in the nation.
Number 3 team in the nation, flying under the radar. Really, that's a long way to fly, but just had a remarkable outing. So really proud of what they're doing. Men's golf goes down to the desert, has a great performance. So a lot to look forward to here in the spring.
I do actually. I have one more for you that I forgot about and I shouldn't have, but you haven't been on since the Jake was announced. Pretty special for Oregon golf.
Very special for Oregon golf. Obviously Peter means a lot to our program, but we're also blessed to have the folks down at EV who've kind of stepped up and said, hey, here's an opportunity here to really do something for women's golf and men's golf and create something that's special.
Pretty awesome. Talk about a recruiting advantage.
Huge recruiting advantage, and really building it from scratch.
Yeah, that's awesome. Rob, thank you.
Hey, good to see you.
Appreciate it. We're going to only do one segment with Rob today because we're going to hear from Melyssa Lombardi, Mark Wazakowski, Dana Altman, Kelly Graves, and we've only got 5 segments, and that's your one. They're the other 4. So
you guys got a lot to do.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to see you.
All right, we're going to get a timeout. When we come back, more Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Thanks for calling Toyota. This is Jan. How can I help?
Hey, Jan. Say, is now a good time for a new Toyota?
You bet it is. Now through April 4th is the perfect time to shop for a RAV4, Tundra, Tacoma, Corolla, and more. Imagine yourself in a RAV4. Where would you go first?
Skinny Al's Barbecue.
I'm imagining you inviting me.
Let your imagination run wild at your participating Toyota dealer. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by Ncaa and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what...
My sister and I escaped from an evil Slug King and went back to my Super Twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Doug Insider, presented by Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Unfortunately, we're going to talk a little men's basketball here before we get to Coach Lombardi, we get to Coach Graves, we get to Coach Wazakowski. Ducks got down double digits, stormed back to end the half, a 13-0 run to end the half over the final 4:39 for the Ducks against USC, and I wish the game had ended there because they held USC scoreless for the final 4:57 of the first half, and they were only shooting 2 of 11. 18% at half from three, and they were winning 32-31. I think everybody, myself included, was like, okay, Ducks are in a good spot. They got this, and they had a big opportunity, but unfortunately it did not go Oregon's way. What this means for the standings, for the bracket, we're going to talk about it, but I know everybody wants to hear what Coach Altman thought after Dana Altman met with the media postgame.
Dana, can you just talk about what you were looking to get on the last possession and how it all developed?
Well, they had been switching man and zone, and so kind of got up, and I thought Jacob had a pretty good crease on the initial one and got to the hole, and they got a block. And then we were trying to get Eric on the backside on that last play there, and they switched the screen, and so then Jacob was the second option, and getting it and driving it to the middle and trying to get to the rim. And, he made the right decision. Everybody came and kicked it back to Will, and we just didn't hit the shot.
Coach, Dante was one of your best players tonight in the paint, both offensively and defensively, but he was not out there for the final few minutes. I'm wondering, was that something you saw matchup, or what was your reasoning for that?
Well, they went small on us, and if you remember earlier, Frank had a real hard time guarding Mobley, gave up a three, and then drove it right by him, and then we played big a little bit, and we were just having trouble matching up. Dante and Frank had a little, Quincy was a little behind it. They were, if we were a little behind it, he was going to take the shot. If not, he was going to drive it in that seam. And he just pulled up and hit it. It wasn't a real tough shot, but it wasn't an easy shot either.
Dana, Will goes 0 for 8 from the field, 2 points, finishes 8 assists. I'm wondering if, in your view, that's more a product of them just trying to take him out of the game, or that's something in his game tonight?
Well, Will missed some good looks. I thought a big play in the game. We were up 3, and he got it to 10 feet, and the guy he pump faked. The guy kind of left him, and he short-armed it and left it short. And so I thought he got some good looks. I think he was 0 for 4 from 3, and I think 3 of them were pretty good looks. So just one of those nights, he didn't shoot it very well. Our guards, we've kind of depended on them all year to be, some scoring threats, and they didn't shoot it well tonight. And, they started doubling Dante, and Dante had a little trouble with the double teams. Just didn't get the looks, just didn't get the shots to fall.
Yeah, Dan, it seems like if you guys could have hit just a couple more threes in the first half, it would really help you just not shooting well from long distance tonight. Just what are your thoughts on that? And were you pleased with the looks you were getting, and they just weren't knocking them down?
Well, I thought we rushed a few of them. I thought, I'm not sure what we were at half, 2 for 11 or two for something, but I just thought we got too aggressive at times. I thought some of them were really contested, and I want our guys to be aggressive, but I thought we rushed a few there.
Dana, just your thoughts on Quincy's effort on both ends and just how he performed for you guys.
Well, I thought he did some really good things on the boards. Obviously he hit a few shots for us, which was really big. Made a few defensive mistakes like we all did, but I thought he played awfully well.
Dana, the rebounding for you guys was a highlight of the first half. You guys were up 5 at the break, and then they came out and out-rebounded you by 9 in the second half. Is there something noticeable that changed at halftime that they were able to do in the second half?
Well, whether we were big or small, we were in trouble on the boards. You know, they started big and they really jumped on us early. In fact, the rebounding margin mostly came with their big lineup in there. They turned it around really quick. We were a -9, 8 minutes into the second half, and then we played them even from there. But the first 8-9 minutes of the second half, they really out-rebounded us badly.
Dana, with the implications that this has, obviously, for the tournament, do you take next week as the approach as, all right, step one is clinch a 4 seed, so that way you only need 3 games in Vegas, and then the challenge of Vegas, just that's for down the road, that's for then. But first things first is just simply, if you're going to make the road any easier, get the first round bye and take care of that first.
I'm not going to talk to him about that. We got to get better. We just got to go play Washington. The wins will take care of themselves. I think their guys know, James, where we're at. My job's to get them ready for Washington. They look at that stuff. They know where we're at. They know what we need to do. So, my discussion is going to be, getting ready for Washington zone. They had a big win today, and they've been playing really well at home. We're going to have to play really well.
And then they did go on to lose to UCLA last night. I watched that game, and along with the Washington State-Oregon State game, and it was some good Pac-12 basketball a little bit last night. Washington, though, was in it at halftime, and then UCLA pulled away. And if you hit shots against that zone, Washington's very beatable. But also, if you slow down the leading scorer in the Pac-12, Washington tends to not have a lot of other supporting cast in terms of who can score. We'll talk more about that coming up. Coach Altman, though, won't talk about where the Ducks stand. I will. Arizona is 15-2 in conference. USC 14-4. UCLA 14-5. Then it's the Ducks 11-7 and Colorado 11-8. You do not want to play that first day. I'm just saying you want to get that bye. Where the Ducks sit in the Pac-12 tournament is one thing. Where the Ducks sit in the NCAA tournament, well, the latest bracketology, and I kind of look at a few different ones, and then I tend to break it all down as to where everybody sits. Oregon's in the first 4 out. BYU and SMU are other common first 4 out teams, 2 teams that were on Oregon's schedule. The Ducks beat SMU. They lost to BYU. I guess at this point you're probably rooting against Creighton, San Francisco, Wake Forest, Michigan, Memphis, San Diego State, Indiana, Rutgers, Loyola, Chicago, BYU, SMU, Virginia Tech, Florida, St. Bonaventure, and Dayton. If all those teams keep losing, then Oregon can skyrocket up into the tournament. I think Oregon still's got a good chance, but it may come down to some good performances out in Vegas. I do want to talk about women's basketball here a little bit, and then we're going to hear from Kelly Graves later on, because the Ducks have landed 3 players on the all Pac-12 team today. Tina Paopao, India Rogers, and Niara Sabally each earned all-league recognition, the conference announced today. All 3 have now received all-conference honors in back-to-back seasons, as Paopao and Sabally were named all Pac-12 for the Ducks last year, and of course India Rogers earned all-league recognition while at USC. Oregon, one of 2 teams in the league to have 3 players on the all-conference team, the other being the conference regular season champions in Stanford. Ducks having a great season. We're going to talk about that Pac-12 tournament bracket as well. Before we go and switch gears maybe to Melyssa Lombardi, let's maybe talk about that Pac-12 bracket here a little bit. The Ducks have earned themselves the number 2 seed. Wild year, I'll just put it that way. So Oregon will play the winner of UCLA and USC at 6 o'clock Thursday night. That means a 5:30 pregame show with Terry Johns. Washington State's the number 3 seed. Utah will play Cal for the right to play in that game. Stanford's going to get the winner of Oregon State, Arizona State. And number 4, Arizona, will get the winner of number 5, Colorado, and number 12, Washington. The first round begins on Wednesday in Las Vegas. The second round, where the Ducks will play their first game after earning that bye, the second round will be on Thursday. So Wednesday it begins, Thursday, first game for the Ducks against one of the Los Angeles schools. And then remember, the tournament championship is on Sunday. There's actually an off day in the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, off day Saturday, championship on Sunday. Here's hoping the Ducks are playing in that championship on Sunday. When we come back, we're going to hear from head coach Melyssa Lombardi. Oregon softball back from the Mary Nutter tournament. They lost their first 2. They rebounded for 3 wins. Also some news on the Diamond Dinner coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon softball head coach Melyssa Lombardi back with us again. Another week on the road. You're an expert Packer. But before we recap the weekend, we want to spend some time talking about what's upcoming. And you guys are going to be back at Jane Sanders Stadium soon. Originally scheduled to have your annual Diamond Dinner in January, but it's now still in front of us. Just with where we were in the world in January, now coming up on March 12th, you've got your Diamond Dinner. Give us the details if you could.
Yes, that's our opener. We get to open up at home that weekend, and we are really looking forward. We've been on the road for, a month, so to come home and play in front of our fans, we can't wait to do that. But what's pretty exciting is that we get to not only play in front of our fans, but then be able to do our Diamond Dinner that Saturday evening at 6 o'clock with our fans, our supporters, season ticket holders, and get opportunity to, sit in a room and eat together, laugh together, talk about what's coming up for the season. Our program the last time was great. Our athletes at the end do some skits to make our fans laugh, and it went really well the last time, so I'm sure they'll enjoy the ones that are coming up for this year as well.
My next question for you was take us inside the dinner, but there is some fun personality. It's a great opportunity for fans who aren't familiar. It's maybe the best opportunity to get to know the team.
I definitely think it is, because it allows you to get to see our athletes all dressed up, or I like to say all dolled up.
Right.
You get to see another side of them. They know them as the student athletes on the field and what they're capable of, but then to watch them come together and put some of these fun skits together, you get to realize that they're pretty funny and talented, and it's a night that you definitely will enjoy.
Tables still available?
Yes, we have a couple tables left, so if it's something that you'd like to do, we would love to have you. We're looking forward to a really great weekend.
Oh, that's awesome. So the Diamond Dinner coming up, but more details available via GoDucks.com. I want to get into the weekend that was, and then before you know it, you guys are going to be back at Jane Sanders Stadium, as we've been discussing. We've been waiting for that, it seems like, for an eternity with a packed house at the Jane. I know season tickets are just, shall we say, limited. Okay, but there are still some out there if you go to GoDucks.com and check out the tickets. Weekend recap. You guys Felt like started a little bit slow. A tough luck loss to Northwestern, 1-0, and then Missouri 6-2. But then you guys responded and you got a few wins. What was your overall assessment of the weekend at the Mary Nutter?
Just definitely that. Our first day, we faced 2 tough opponents, but I mean, going to Palm Springs, the Mary Nutter, that's what it's about. It's seeing where we're at in our third week. And I think all of us would say that we did not play our best softball, and to play those 2 teams you got to come out with your best softball. So it's tough to get the losses, but I think it's early in the season. We had some adversity, and to me what I want to see is how does this team handle 2 tough losses like that, because I don't think we played our best ball, and for us to challenge them and to see what they were going to do for the rest of the weekend. I really like how they went about things the rest of the way.
Yeah, you responded with an 8-0 win the next day, a really nice win against Fullerton 4-3, and then you finished the weekend 5-0 against Long Beach. For fans that we got to give you the full breakdown, right? So tell us about how the team felt in the evening, and then how did they respond like in batting practice in the morning? Like did you see that response right away the next day after the 2 losses?
Definitely. We needed some urgency. It has nothing to do physically. These guys are very, very talented. We know how to pitch, we know how to hit, and we know how to play defense. But I feel like the mindset of how we were going about it in the first day, it wasn't good enough. And it's not the way that we go about things. So I think for us to challenge them for that part and to, tell them like, hey, come on, this isn't good enough. And they would agree as well that it wasn't good enough. So you could definitely see urgency with them. I think about that first day, we were getting to our hitting plans too late. Like we're trying to do things in the 7th inning versus trying to do things right from the start in the beginning of the game. That's what we needed. We needed to get into our plans quicker, earlier into the game, and that's what wasn't happening in the first day, where you could definitely see those plans come into effect the second day and the third day.
A couple individual performances that I want to ask you about. For the 5-game tournament, Ariel Carlson goes 4 for 8, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, scored 4 runs. It seemed like Ariel Carlson really burst this weekend for you guys.
Yes, and we've been waiting for her to do that because she's got that power at the plate. I mean, she could change the game in one swing, and we need that from her. But, again, it's just mindset. We don't need her to come up and hit a bomb every at-bat. We need her to come up and have great at-bats every time she steps up to the plate.
You guys are 11-3, and I think a big reason is the pitching staff. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about a combined no-hitter over the weekend. Jordan Dale, Reagan Breelove, combined no-hitter to finish the 5-0 win against Long Beach. What'd you see? What'd you like from your staff?
Well, just looking at that last game, especially with Jordan, earlier in the weekend, I thought she needed to be a little more efficient on the mound. She kept falling behind, or just hitters seeing too many pitches in an at-bat. And you could see against Long Beach, she was constantly ahead and understanding how to put hitters away early, and we needed that. So I loved her response on that. But I thought all weekend these guys did a good job of giving us opportunity. I just think at times early on, they just kept getting too deep in the count, and it made us work a little bit harder. I thought they got more efficient as the weekend went along.
Talking about some individuals back on the offensive side, too. Allie Bunker, 5 hits in Cathedral City this past weekend. 50 at-bats, and Allie Bunker, the leading hitter for the team at 380, has only struck out once.
Yeah, she's tough to strike out.
Why?
She's such a competitor at the plate, and she doesn't miss good pitches. You're going to have to work really hard to get her.
I think it's amazing to think about, like, you were talking about it with your pitching staff there just a second ago, like getting too deep into counts. Well, Allie Bunker is the exact definition, right, on your guys' side of why that works out. KK Humphreys, so let's talk about the 4-3 win over Fullerton. She got to play against her former team. Imagine there were some emotions for her, and that had to be a good feeling for Humphreys to get the win against her former team.
Yeah, I think at times that can be a little bit uncomfortable, but what I loved is that she was just so caught up in Oregon and her teammates and us just really more caught up in what we wanted to do and how we wanted to play and the urgency that we needed versus the opponent. That's what I think I liked about that game more than any other game, is our team was so locked into us And I think that's what allowed us to push through. That Fullerton's a really good team, very powerful at the plate. I thought McKenna did a great job at times. You know, kind of worked herself into a hole a little bit. She had one inning where she had bases loaded with no outs and got out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what we needed. We need her to see that she can get out of a tough jam like that, and that our defense can play behind her, and that our offense, you know, can be timely early in the game. So I really liked a lot of things that happened in that Fullerton game.
Talking about McKenna Cleathermos, I mean, she's the tough luck loser in the first game, right? She goes the distance, ends up losing 1-0, but comes back. You mentioned facing a little adversity. That's the response you need from a frontline pitcher in this level, don't you?
For sure, because they're going to be in a game and be cruising along, and then all of a sudden they have an inning that doesn't go their way, and I want to see her stay composed and to be able to handle what comes to her, and that she knows, her defense knows that they can get out of it.
Talking about defense, I think it was in that Fullerton game, Hannah Delgado goes a long way, makes a great catch in center field. She also hit 2 home runs this weekend. I mean, just Hannah Delgado, the well-rounded player, I guess. We're seeing it on display right now.
Yeah. You know what's cool for us as coaches is that as the season is going along, things keep popping up that maybe things that we wanted from them in the fall that we weren't getting, or we weren't getting in January. You know, we talked a lot about in the outfield, you are not going to let a ball drop. And balls were dropping in January and even in the fall because of the urgency or not taking good routes. And so to me, it's like our athletes are starting to see the work that they've put in to particular things. And I mean, when Hannah made that catch, it was everybody was pumped, not because they were just shocked she made it, just because they know the work that has gone behind making that catch. And that was a big catch that saved 2 runs.
It did. And you end up winning that game by 1. I mean, defense wins championships.
Yes.
See? Defense wins. I'm coachable.
I see that. I like
I'm coachable. Now you guys are hitting the road, going all the way out to North Carolina. So I know it's a big travel week. You guys are going to play North Carolina, Greensboro, Penn State, Connecticut, North Carolina, Connecticut again. Give us the breakdown of the weekend ahead and the Carolina Classic with 1 extra game in front of that.
Well, first, just to start off, my first year here, our first athlete that transferred to us was Jordan Dale, and was such a huge part of what we did that first year, and has been a big part of our program from day 1 to now. And so for us, anytime that we can either get home or get as close as we can to their home in their 4 years that they've played here, we want to do that. So with Jordan being from Virginia, this is a trip that we've made to get out to her side, you know, her neck of the woods.
That's
and for
so
her
cool
to be able to play in front of her family and extended family and friends. And I know she's excited about that. So that's one where I'm happy to do that for her, and I appreciate what she's done for our program. This tournament's a tough tournament. You have a lot of postseason teams in this tournament, which is good because that's what we need. We need to continue to play top programs to see where we are currently now, but then also to prepare us for the pack that's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting here talking about you, a little disappointed in the start to the last weekend. You're still number 12 in the country.
Yeah.
I don't know if the rankings matter. In fact, I know the rankings don't really matter to you right now, but it at least gives me, the amateur here, the litmus test of how everybody else is doing too. And it seems like there's some parity around the country early on.
Yeah, there's a lot of parity. I think anybody, whether you're ranked or not, I really don't think it matters. I think anybody on any given day can beat the other. So you've got to, I don't think there's any give-me's. You got to come up ready to go every single time you step out on the field. And I think that was something that our team really learned this past weekend.
How much has the transfer portal made college softball more parity-ridden, if you will?
I think it's there's parity because of it, but I also think the parity also comes from the super seniors.
Sure.
I think that's what people forget is that you have athletes that are on this team for a whole nother year that should technically be graduated.
Right.
So I just think that right there is what has allowed you to see just softball across the country, so competitive.
Experience matters.
It does.
Experience matters. Well, here's to a great experience in North Carolina. Safe travels. Thanks for taking the time. Reminder, Diamond Dinner. More information, you'll find it on GoDucks.com, also via Oregon Softball on social media. couple more tables available for the event on March 12th. So one more shout out for the Diamond Dinner. You guys are looking forward to it, I can tell.
Yes, it's going to be a great weekend to open up the Jane, and then also just to come together at the Diamond Dinner with our team, our fans, our season ticket holders, anybody that wants to be a part of it. We'd love to have you.
Next week, by the way, we're previewing the home opener at Jane Sanders Stadium. Coach Lombardi, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it. When we come back, we've got more to come. We're going to talk a little baseball. The Ducks with you score 58 runs in 4 games, you're doing something right. We're talking about that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon baseball this weekend. All right, let's put it in context for you. Ducks have a bit of a slow start down in San Diego. They come back and they score 20-plus runs then in back-to-back games. 1 in San Diego, 1 at the new look PK Park. Debuted that new turf at PK Park, the new fence, the new look, and it looks awesome. And the Ducks won 4 games. They scored 58 runs in 4 games, including 23 runs on Friday night, which included a 13-run 8th inning. Don't get me wrong. St. John's walked too many batters. I think the Ducks would agree that they weren't in the zone enough. Oregon probably wanted to swing the bats a little bit more. But the Ducks had a great approach at the plate, in my opinion, all weekend long. And it ended on Monday with Tommy Brandenburg getting a win in his second collegiate start. The Ducks were solid offensively, and they've got guys that are hitting over 500, and we're 8 games into the season. Also, 13 straight plate appearances where Colby Shade reached base safely. Wow. Wild, huh? Mark Wasikowski, I think he was pretty happy. Post-game, this was from Monday, so yesterday after the series sweep for the Ducks at PK Park.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot that you saw this weekend that you'd like to clean up, that, various details, but big picture, when you open your renovated park with 4 wins, 4 emphatic wins, you play better than you did the week before. You feel okay with how the last 4 days went?
Yeah, we won 4 games. That was great. So the objective is to win. We won, and today being able to go out there on the game 4 of a series, on a Monday after it's, that's a challenge, and for the kids to show up and. Tack on a couple of runs off of their closer. That guy's got a really good arm, the Rodriguez kid, at 93 to 94 miles an hour with breaking ball and a really, really good change. He's got a big professional career in front of him, and for us to be able to tack on some runs there, Jacob to be able to get a swing off there at the end, Those were huge things. And then for our pitching, our pitching and defense was really, really good. It was a staple today. It was fun to see.
I think I counted 11 scoreless relief appearances across the 4 games. You got a chance to look at a lot of arms and a lot of different situations. Learn anything this weekend about your bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly learning about our team because there's so many different guys and so many new roles, and settling in is a key piece, especially with the leadership piece. And see Matt Dallas come in and strike 2 guys out that he faced today. Real Britton was really, really good. Caleb Sloan shows up, and he gets his, a really good 5-4-3 double play. With the defense on the infield, was really good with those guys that came out of the bullpen. It was nice to see everybody just kind of passing the baton, and then at the end of the ball game to be able to see Summers do what he does, which is, it can be boring at times, and it's great when it's boring because that means he's just really good, and he was the best closer in the Pac-12 last year, and he will be this year as well.
Specifically, what did you see from Tommy today? Just his improvements from his last outing.
Well, I mean, he threw his pitches for strikes, Coach Angier wanted to get some other guys some work as the day was going, and so we probably lifted him an inning or even maybe 2 innings early. But still, we needed some other objectives met with the pitching. Tommy gave us a really good start, and we were happy with it.
How impressive was that double play in the 3rd inning to get out of that jam? It seemed like the defense overall was cleaner in the series.
Yeah, Josh laying out, getting it to Gavin, and then Jacob on the other end of it, picking the ball out of the dirt that was a huge play. And then right after that, for us to be able to score was important as well. So just keeping the momentum is always one of the biggest things in baseball, especially college baseball. And, when they had a little bit of momentum, our defense was able to answer the call and change that momentum back to our side.
You found a way to get Cromwell in the lineup yesterday and said, hey, his bat, his bat merited, even if he didn't necessarily show it specifically yesterday. The homer today, that's why you want to get at bats for a guy like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, last weekend, I think on Game 4, he had a 5 RBI day with a grand slam and a couple of hits, and he came off the bench that day, and today we start him, and he's got another clutch home run, a 3-run homer. So, I mean, he hits home runs on Game 4s is what we've seen now. But Josiah's a really good player. He didn't play a lot last year because of injuries. He's healthy now. And obviously, he's a very talented kid. We've got a very talented roster. I really like our group.
Ducks started Josiah Cromwell in right field in one game, just trying to get that bat in there, and he did hit that big home run to get the scoring going in the final game. And I will say, 3 double plays to end innings. Mark Wasikowski was talking a lot about momentum. That's what I was talking about on the broadcast yesterday. The momentum that Oregon has really on display. When we come back, a little bit from Kelly Graves, because they're getting ready to go to Vegas. In fact, traveling today, and we got Tip-Off Tuesday coming up this afternoon. More coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon women's basketball finishing up their regular season with a nice win against Utah, wire to wire, a 73-65 win. The Ducks, with the way things shook out, they are now number 2 in the Pac-12. That's where they finished, heading into the matchup in Las Vegas with either USC or UCLA. I want to let you listen a little bit to what Coach Graves' initial thoughts were after the game, and I think he's a pretty happy camper, huh?
Coach, I'll keep this open-ended. What were you most pleased with in the fourth quarter? They made a run there, but you guys had an answer right away. What was the best part of that?
Yeah, just composure. Defensively, we got great stops when we needed to. They had, like you said, all the momentum. And, and then some timely buckets. Sid hits a big 3. Andy gets to the line, gets to the basket. Ncaa, it was a good team effort in that fourth quarter. We've shown a propensity to have some difficult thirds, but we have some pretty good fourths. But that was a hell of a win, you guys.
Kelly, we've seen this.
No doubt about that, huh? No doubt about that. That is a hell of a win for the Ducks. And I'll tell you what, getting them into number 2 in that Pac-12 spot, it's important. The bracket is such that Oregon's going to play one of 2 LA schools, USC or UCLA, Thursday, coming up at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. For that bracket, number 4, Arizona. How about that? Arizona ended up finishing 4th in the Pac-12. They're going to play the winner of Colorado and Washington on Thursday at noon. Colorado-Washington also at noon on Wednesday. Then Oregon State, Arizona State at 2:30, but really it's just going to follow the Colorado-Washington game. Winner of that one gets to play Stanford. They're the regular season conference champs, might win the national championship in back-to-back years. Then in the evening session on Thursday, it's going to be Oregon against the winner of UCLA-USC. Washington State will play the winner of Utah and Cal. That means the path to a championship is going to go through either UCLA or USC, and then it's likely going to go through Washington State. But I'll tell you what, I think Utah could beat Washington State. Ducks are going to have a tough task ahead of them in Las Vegas, but it gets underway on Thursday. Terry Johns will have a 5:30 pregame show for you, and then we're going to have 2 broadcasts going on at the same time because Oregon men's basketball plays in Seattle at 7 o'clock on Thursday. Jordan Brenner is going to have you covered the rest of the week here on Duck Insider. He's got baseball for you this weekend as well because Terry and I are both traveling with basketball. It's the best time of year. So that's my only Duck Insider of the week. Bye, everybody.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Neil Armstrong waited